You are listening to 2Blue and OSU, the ultimate sports podcast for your entertainment. Here are your hosts.
A weekend's worth of blowouts. Ryan, I know you're happy to talk about it. Why we love sports. And it's NCAA basketball trying to be like college football playoffs. I am your quarterback, as always now, filling in for the Zach Tillman, who is still in Guam. Still have yet to hear from him on anything. Still have yet to read his blog. Zach, get on it. But I'm your quarterback, Morgan, for this episode with my co-host, Ryan. Ryan, I know you're upset, man. I know you're down in the dumps. I know you're happy to see me, but I know you're down in the dumps.
It was
How you doing,
it was the worst game I've ever watched them play as a whole. I mean, you know, I don't even know what happened, man. I do not know what happened. It's like they didn't even get off the bus. It was just,
in case you guys don't know, Ryan is a huge Packers fan.
there is a hole in the wall in the trailer where I watched the game to show proof that I was not happy with the results.
It's all right. We will get into that. But first, just came out. I just read about it. The NCAA basketball is looking to start, I believe it's in February, in unveiling of their top 4 seeds for the March Madness tournament. It's only the top 4 seeds, and they're going to do it in February. I'm just curious. I think we kind of had the same thought about this, but what do you think about them trying to spruce this thing up here, trying to give it a little bit of oomph to try and get a lot more people involved in it?
Yeah, I didn't hear the story or read it. I just heard it from you. So is it just the top 4 seeds, or is it the top 4 in like each region?
I believe it's the top 4 in each region.
No, I mean, either way, who gives a shit? I mean, really? 64 teams are going. So what does it matter if you're in the top 4 or not?
Well, 68.
Okay.
Well, 68 if you count the first 4. That's in Dayton, Ohio. Just throw that out there. But continue.
Okay. Well, chances are if you're in the top 4, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean like what it means in football, where there is rarely a 20 seed going to be the top 2, or, one of the top 4 seeds. Especially when they only play so many games, and when you're up there in the playoffs, you lost 1 game of the year, maybe none. So you're in basketball, they play more games, and there's a lot more upsets in basketball than there is in football. And I mean, personally, I could care less because I don't watch basketball to begin with, but it's not as big of a deal to me as college football playoffs are. There's still 60-some teams going, and any one of those 60-some teams can walk away the champion at the end of the tournament.
I do agree with you. I think what they're trying to do is trying to get a lot more people involved with it, because they see how many people are in tune with the college football playoffs. It's more for a ratings thing. I mean, you can look at the top 20 teams and pick out the top 16 that'll be the top 4 seeds in each region. So it won't be much of a surprise. It won't have any effect on me and how I feel about March Madness, because I get pumped for it. I fill out brackets. I print it out. We do a March Madness thing on the show. I enter in different groups, do different things with friends and my boss's family. So it won't have any effect on me. I think it's more of a ratings thing. I think it's college basketball wanting to get some of that spotlight that college football has.
Right.
Because really in December, it's like, all right, well, we can, shift everything over to college basketball now. And then that's when people start getting in tune with college basketball. But at this point in the season, all the good games are pretty much already over. All the non-conference games are pretty much over. It's all conference games now. So, if if you're the SEC, it's like, all right, we have the Wildcats, which ironically just lost to Tennessee the other day, but that's pretty much who runs the SEC. You know, you got Duke and North Carolina in the ACC, well, and Virginia now. So, I mean, you got those other top teams. A Gonzaga, who always seems to make it. So, you know who the top teams will probably be. College basketball, if they want to kind of get some of the spotlight back away from college football, schedule some of these non-conference games. Schedule like the ACC Big Ten tournament games. Schedule those later on in the season versus during, you know, the college football like final weeks or during, you know, the college bowls. You know, schedule those bigger games later on, and then you might get a little more ratings. But as far as doing the unveiling of the top 4 seeds in each region, I mean, you can pretty much guess who those will be. So it doesn't make a difference.
It's not that exciting to me. I mean,
no.
I'll still fill out brackets, you know, because I think it's fun. I mean, especially since I don't really follow basketball, so you know, if I end up doing well, it's just by, you know, pure luck or just good at guessing. I mean, who knows? Maybe I do know more than I think I do, but I mean, it's still fun.
It doesn't matter how much you know when it comes to filling out brackets.
It's all luck.
I look at Michigan State for last year. How many people had Michigan State losing? Unless you're somebody who doesn't know jack shit about college basketball, you might pick Michigan State to lose. Or if you got 30 brackets entered in to a pool, right, you might have it. So you're probably better at picking these than someone like, you know, me or someone like, you know, someone who follows college basketball a little bit more closely.
You put a lot of thought into it. I just kind of wing it.
Oh yeah. Oh, I overthink it every single time. Like, I look at stats, who they played, strength of schedule, 3-point shooting, like perimeter. I'm like, yeah. So this year, I can't look at any of that. I just had to.
You just need to pick it based off of like colors, you know,
off of a mascot.
Yeah, their mascot's cooler than theirs.
Right.
So I'm gonna do this year. I'm gonna do it.
Right.
Well, for ours.
Best of luck to you.
For the show.
For the show. Screw it. But on to the weekend that was a shit show of conference championships. We're going to start up in New England. They routed the Steelers 36-17. That score seems to be a little bit closer than it was. Those really 17 points were garbage points, were prevent defense points and then go for 2 points. So it wasn't really a whole lot for this game. Roethlisberger went 31 for 47, 314 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Brady is continuing his run, kind of adding to his MVP candidacy, which would come down to probably him and Matt Ryan. Brady went 32 of 42 for 384 and 3 touchdowns. The biggest story was Chris Hogan. He had 9 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. So this was a huge game for him in the spotlight. He definitely stepped up big for Brady.
Was it 171 of those yards in like the first half or the first quarter?
Yeah, he
first half.
I want to say the first half because the second half was just
because he had both his touchdowns before halftime.
Yeah.
Edelman
went 8 catches for 118 yards and a touchdown. Le'Veon Bell, he kind of went out with a hamstring problem. He only had 20 yards. And then his backup Williams went 34. So as a team, they only rushed for 54 yards, which the Patriots did well. And like I said on our last episode, that the Patriots defense is much better than the Kansas City D, to where they, held him to 54 yards rushing. They held Brown to only 77 yards total. So, that's what happens when you went up against a better defensive team. It wasn't really an exciting game, but one thing that I kind of took away that I'll kind of go a little bit more into on our next episode. Boswell went 0 for 1 on his extra point attempt, and Gostkowski went 3 for 4 on his extra point attempt. So you can see the extra point is kind of, coming into factor here.
It's not a guarantee anymore.
But It was a boring game. Wasn't much to it. The biggest thing that I kind of want to talk to you about here is, I don't know if you've seen, but on 93.7 The Fan, I guess Roethlisberger is kind of does a little call-in show every week. They were talking to him, and he said, and I quote, and this is talking about, kind of the offseason and stuff. He said, "I'm going to take this offseason to evaluate and to consider all the options." And then he said, "To consider health and family and things like that, and just kind of take some time to evaluate next season, if there's going to be a next season." End quote. They talked to Tomlin about it. He said he isn't worried. He said this isn't the first time that Big Ben came out, or came up to him and kind of said something along those lines. But the fact that Big Ben came out to the public and made those comments, I'm just curious on what you think about him possibly hanging it up and going to retire.
What else does he have to prove? I mean, he's won 2 Super Bowl rings. He's been to 3. They lost to Green Bay in 2010. I mean, he's not going to catch Brady and win that many Super Bowls. I mean, what else? What else does he need to do? He's been a dominating quarterback, and he's one of those quarterbacks that's nobody talks about him a lot until late in the season. He can ride a season out, and nobody says much about him. Just kind of like this year with Atlanta. Nobody really talked about Atlanta until late in the season. But I mean, he's injury prone. I mean, he's getting just what in the divisional round in the press conference, he was in a walking boot. Yeah, it ended up being nothing, but I mean, there's every year there's something with his ankle or something with his knee. He's a big guy and he fights to stay standing, so he's hard to take down. But when he does go down, he goes down hard. I mean, there's no shame in him walking away from the game now. I mean, at this point, I mean, he's playing because he loves the game. I mean, what else do you play for? So I mean, if he keeps playing, it's just because he loves playing that much. If he decides that, he's just had enough and wants to hang it up, then there's no shame in that. I mean, there's no reason for him to be ashamed of what he's done or his accomplishments that he's made since he's been in Pittsburgh. So,
yeah,
that's hard to say for somebody who hates Pittsburgh.
Right. I'm glad you said it versus me. No, it's there's a couple things to take away from it. You can look at it as, maybe he, after having a season, having different injuries, ankle, knee, back, kidney, whatever it is, hits to the head. You can look at it as he just wants to take some time to think about it, get his head together. He'll probably be back. You can look at it as if he does decide to hang it up, and if it's for something like CTE, then you're going to be seeing a lot more players hanging it up early, or a lot more star players hanging it up early.
I mean, you got to think, he might be able to play another year, 2 years, but yeah, I'm sure he's thinking about what my health is going to be like down the road.
Oh yeah.
With all the hits that he takes and the injuries that he's had, and they're minor now, but the older you get, that your body breaks down and it takes a toll on you.
Well, I mean, speaking of the hits, the third thing that you can look at is this is his way of saying, "Hey, Tomlin, go out and give me some offensive line help. Go out and draft some players who can keep me standing on my feet."
Right.
So that's one way to look at it. But I
think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I think he's got another couple of years in him, 2-3 years at least. I mean, he's not as old as Brady.
No. I mean, and it's not like he has a bad team. I mean,
no.
It's him. He's got Bell, who's dominating the league. Brown,
who's dominating the league.
He has Bryant. Bryant's coming back for next season too. He was out for the whole year. So you have 2 targets on the outside, and his defense is young. They're one of the youngest D's in the league, and they're just going to keep on getting better. So the only concern for him is
And James Harrison's not slowing down at all.
Oh my God! Did you see after the divisional round game?
Yeah, he got right off the plane, went to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I wish I had that
what
kind of
a freaking-
discipline, bro.
Right, right. I wish I was that jacked. But no, I do agree with you. I mean, he'll be back. I mean, it's a really good team. The defense is young. They have a good special teams. They have a good kicker. They're just an all around good team. I hate to say it, being a Bengals fan, but putting the bias aside, they're always one of the top teams, in all of football. So
Yeah,
he'll be back.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what happened, man? What happened to your Cheeseheads, man? I told you I don't know if their defense can hang, man. I did not.
It wasn't even just the defense. It was the offense. It was everything.
It was the injuries.
The injuries just piled up. 15 people on IR going into that game. Atlanta had 4. In last episode we talked about this, how all the shows are saying. I didn't watch any ESPN or Sports Center or anything after that game. I just been working and busy and whatnot. But we talked about it last week where everybody's saying, is Atlanta really that good, or did Green Bay lose it for themselves? Atlanta is that good, and Green Bay lost it for themselves. Rodgers did not play a bad game. Rodgers did not play a bad game at all.
I mean, he had 3 touchdowns for 287 yards. So I guess if you want to look at the 287 yards, say that was a down game for him. But
but I mean, still 3 touchdowns. His line didn't give him near as much time as they did in the past. He didn't have as much time in the pocket. Even when he scrambled, his line was missing blocks, and Atlanta was able to get in the backfield and get to him a lot quicker. Receivers couldn't catch anything. There was I want to say 8 or 9 drop balls, and some of them were just short dump passes that they couldn't take, to the receiver or to the tight end that they just couldn't catch. The fumble inside the red zone by Rukowski definitely doesn't help.
Which, by the way, as soon as the Falcons jumped on that ball at the 2-yard line, he kind of rolled backwards into the end zone, and I'm surprised nobody said anything about it.
Yeah, I think they just said it was I think they were just figuring it was momentum of him diving on the ball, but I mean either way, that doesn't help when you fumble it right there at the goal line.
No,
missing the field goal to be the drive before that definitely doesn't help. We just couldn't put anything together, and then we finally did. It just wasn't enough because our defense couldn't slow Atlanta down.
There's 2 things that I pointed out to you on 2 episodes ago. It was the fact that the Falcons' defense is stepping up big for them, and the Packers rushing. I asked you if you're worried about that. Rodgers led the team in rushing with 46 yards. Your quarterback, your star quarterback like that in the National Football League should not be leading your team in rushing yards.
And I didn't disagree with you that the rushing was an issue. I believe what I said was I hope we could do something like we did in 2010 when we made our run and find a running game. But they couldn't. I mean, it wasn't there. I mean, it just I don't understand how we fell apart so bad. And it was as a whole, it was just awful. I mean, it wasn't one aspect of the team. It was just all around bad.
Yeah, there was a point early on in the game where I sent you a text. I'm like, this is like a clinic. The Falcons are putting on a clinic, man. It was.
I think every 5 minutes you sent me that message. This is the clinic.
It was so bad. I'm like you could not stop Ryan. You could not stop them from passing yards. You could not stop Julio Jones, who had 9 catches for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, just like Hogan did. And here's the biggest thing too, was that I talked about the Falcons and how they had 8 different wideouts with long gains of 10 or more yards. In this game, they had 7. So they still spread the ball and still threw it down the field. So it was the Packers had no answer on special teams, no answer on offense, no answer on defense. It was
Turnovers
such a
killed
lot.
them. We turned the ball over twice, and they scored both times.
Yeah.
It
was a game that I did not expect. I could have maybe have seen a blowout in the Steelers New England game, but not in the Green Bay Falcons game. I thought this one would be a shootout,
like it was Week 8.
Yeah, and it was nothing like it. It was the Packers forgot to show they were still out freaking Lambeau Field.
First half. I felt like a Buckeye fan when they played Clemson.
Yeah, I know you sent me that and whatever, dude.
I think at that point it was 31-0.
The only difference was that our defense had some turnovers and kept us in the game for a while, but our offense couldn't do it. Yours was your offense and defense and special teams couldn't do nothing. You got your kicker who just kicked the game-winning field goal the week prior to get you here, who's been
misses a 40-yard field, misses basically a chip shot for his standards.
Yeah. It is a chip shot for. I mean, 45 yards in is a chip shot for Crosby. So once Crosby missed that, and then once Rip fumbled and the Falcons got it, I'm like, there's just no way. It's like at that point where you as a fan, and whoever is just watching, you're like, the ball is now bouncing in the favor of the Packers. You're getting the shit end. Like, you're not getting any of the bounces. You're not getting any of the calls, which you were complaining about the calls too, about, they were allowing.
I don't know. I just feel like some of those like the pass interference calls, I think they should just let them play it, man. I mean, they were grabbing and pushing and, both sides, and they call it on us like 3 times before we actually got a call going our way.
There was a couple that I seen that I was like, oh, that one could have gone the other way. But there were a couple too on Julio Jones where it was damn near hockey style, ripping his jersey over, and Julio Jones still caught the ball.
Calls the week before.
Still ran it in. Still caught the ball. It still ran it in. So your DB could not even hold him. He tried to pull his jersey up over his head and still couldn't hold him.
Who was that? Gunter, I think, just had an awful game, man.
Yeah. Oh,
that's the thing. Our secondary was just they were all garbage, absolute garbage.
Yeah.
And I mean injuries. We're always plagued with injuries this time of the year, and I don't know what it is where we always. I don't know. Maybe I just noticed it more because I'm a fan, but it seems like we go into the playoffs with like 3 times the injuries everybody else has. And I don't know if I'm just noticing it more because I'm a fan or what, but it seems like our guys all start getting injured at the worst time. And it's nothing like something where they can come back in a week. I was glad to see Nelson out there. I wish they could have won, got a win, because you could just see him out there. He was in pain. But he even had 6 catches. We still couldn't do anything.
I mean, if you're just a casual fan and just watching it, you seen the thing come up with all the injuries throughout the season and who was out for the game. Well, I think you as a fan see it, kind of read into a lot more just because you are the fan and you know that the players who are out can make a huge difference on the offensive side and the defensive side.
There was a point in that game where we were down to – we had no more backups for the offensive line.
Yeah.
That's bad too.
Oh, yeah.
And our offensive line is usually solid, but that's a danger. Offensive, a lot of people don't realize it unless you're, an actual fan. If you're just a casual watching football every once in a while, you don't realize it. But being on the line, offense or defense, that's just as dangerous because you get all those big bodies in there and you start hitting the deck and, people landing on you awkward and rolling ankles and people don't realize how risky that is.
Oh yeah. But
I've come to accept it that I think I was on duty that day, but I ended up not being out watching the game, and I think I was making the people that I was on duty with uncomfortable just by yelling so much and punching walls but we got through it.
But that's the beauty of sports, man. That's the beauty of being a diehard sports fan, is you get so in it.
I take it personal.
Yeah, well, the thing that I hate is, it's just a sports game. It is just a sports game, but when you're so involved with the team, when as a NFL fan, you watch who they pick. You watch them closely. As a college football fan, you watch the high school tapes and the recruits coming in. It's like you're such a diehard fan that when the season's over, you're like, shit, now what?
Right.
Especially if you're just into just a couple of sports.
I mean, I got hockey to turn to now for the next few months.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of sports, which leading us into our next segment called
Why We Love Sports.
Ryan, why do you love sports?
Why do I love sports? There's a lot of reasons I love sports, Morgan. No, I'm not going to get So, back in, let's see, let me get the date here. So I want to make sure the story's. So back in October, Larry Prout Jr., who's 15, signed with University of Michigan's football team. And they held a press conference and everything for him. He just wanted to be, he just wanted to watch the team play in a bowl game. That's one of his goals, was just to be at a bowl game and watch the team play. But they held the press conference, and John O'Corn even said that having him on the team, he's a friend for life. Harbaugh said that it's a proud moment for the team signing this kid. And it's an honor to have him on our football team. So, Michigan, they didn't make the playoffs. They ended up going to the Orange Bowl. And Prout thought, hey, awesome. They're gonna be at the bowl game. I'll be sitting in my house watching it. Just before that, before they were getting ready to leave, go for Christmas and then go to the game, they met with Prout at the athletic center, and they were all talking to him about, what his plans were for the bowl game, what he was going to do, everything. And he told him he's going to be watching it at home, just cheering him on, rooting for his team. They told him that they were going to be flying him down there and being at the game with them. The team got together and bought a ticket so he could get to go down there and watch the team with them. So, it's things like that, man, that, people don't realize outside of, especially people that don't watch sports. They just think, they're dumb athletes, but they do a lot for the communities. NFL does a lot for the, players who, Walter Payton Man of the Year award, college teams just like this, high school, everybody, they do a lot for the community outside of just, hey, we're just dumb athletes that get on the field and hit each other and, play with the ball. And it's a kid's game. It is a kid's game, but they do a lot with the communities to get people involved and show that they care. So there's my story.
Yeah, that's a good one. I want to say Zach had that one last year, early on when they first brought him in and signed him to the team and stuff. So I believe that's the same kid. I hate Michigan. I can't say Michigan, but good on them for doing that. That meant more to that kid than what Harbaugh and those players and the staff could ever imagine. So that was cool for them to do that. That's a good example of, of why we love sports. Of, it's not just, what a sport can do for a kid, but what, when the team comes together and the impact that they can have on a kid's life. That it's not just going out there and watching these guys go out there and play football. It's being a role model for them and stuff. So good on them. That was going by you. That was kind of a follow up one from last year.
I actually didn't know that Zach did that one.
Yeah, well, it was
when they signed him. You're talking about
first signed him. Yeah. It was when I first signed him. I believe it's the same kid. But I don't
remember that. So, but anyway, either way,
that was when we had the other co-host who.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, that's why you're here now. But no, but mine comes from Morganton. It's a nice city name, North Carolina. It comes from a high school kid named Mitchell Greathouse. He was a basketball fan of his high school team. He suffers from spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy, and he loves going to his high school team's basketball games. He loves going there and cheering his teams on, and watching them and stuff. Well, he had this dream to actually get into the game, and there's a video for it. It actually came out just a few weeks ago. But the coach for Freedom High, he got together and they kind of created a plan for him. And the stipulation was, in order for Mitchell to be a starter for the game, he had to do 50 steps in his gait trainer. It's this thing that kind of helps him walk. It's kind of like a wheelchair, I guess you could say, but he's standing up and he has arms in it and he's able to walk with it. So he was challenged to do 50 steps in his gait trainer. So that was a stipulation from the head coach, Casey Rogers. So Greathouse went out, he did his 50 steps. So they allowed the senior to start for one game for his high school team. And not only did he get to start for the game, he actually got on a stat sheet with an assist to one of his players. So that's a good example of, it's not just a team coming together for a kid or whatever. It's what the sport can do for a kid. He did 50 steps, which I cannot imagine how hard that must be for someone with that disability. But he did these 50 steps in order to get onto the court, just to record an assist on a team that he loves going and watching. So that's just, whenever people are like, oh, it's just a sport, oh, it's just a game, it means much more to someone like Mitchell. So, and just like you had with the young boy who got to go out there with the Michigan team and got to go out to the bowl game and stuff, it means so much more to these kids. And that's why we love sports. It's not just a simple game. It's not just, oh, the team lost and then it's over. It means more to kids, like the boy who you mentioned and like, Mitchell. So.
Yeah, it's something we take for granted because we don't have, we're not challenged with, in that aspect of life. So we take that kind of stuff for granted, where we can go out on the basketball court any day we want and shoot hoops. We can go out on the football field and toss the ball around. Right. They motivated, they challenged that kid. Hey, we want to help you, but this is what you have to do. They challenged him. That makes them better people. It helps, makes that kid a stronger person. And that's awesome.
And that's why this is one of our favorite segments. This is our why we love sports segments, and it's always a fun one to do. It kind of challenges us to go out there and find a sports story to put out to everybody else who might not have seen it, and to kind of tell other people why we love sports, that it's not just a game, that it's much more to that. And when you see a story kind of like these, it kind of, it kind of opens your eyes and kind of makes you appreciate a lot of what you have. So that's our favorite segment. That's why we love sports. That's all we have. We're trying to keep our videos a little bit shorter. Nobody wants to sit through an hour video. I mean, I'm sure people don't mind sitting through an hour and looking at me, but sometimes the camera goes to you. That's hard to look at.
Wearing that jersey, nobody wants to watch the videos.
So, trying to keep our videos shorter. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Go like our Facebook page at 2BlueandOSU. We're on Twitter at 2BlueandOSU. Be sure to leave us comments. Hate it, love it. Give us a thumbs up, preferably. Thumbs down. And if you give us a thumbs down, tell us why you hate it. But preferably give us a thumbs up. Maybe help us get a couple bucks going our way because we do this for fun, as we always talk about. That's why our cameras suck, our mics suck, our headphones suck, but it's still fun getting out here and talking with you. So be sure to subscribe to us. Share with your friends, share with your family, share with your enemies, share with your frenemies, share with whoever you want.
Give us topics that you want to hear us talk about.
Yep. Don't worry, we will get into. We have another week. We have a little bit of time to the Super Bowl, so our next video will be top heavy Super Bowl with maybe some college basketball mixed in. Maybe I'll throw a trivia towards you, see if you can figure it out. Until next episode, we thank you for tuning in with us. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for giving us a thumbs up and subscribing. Take it easy.
You have been listening to 2Blue and OSU. Check them out every Monday.